One of the biggest, most important concepts in computers today is networking. And the reason is because one of the most important networks in the world is what makes online classes possible. It's what makes online gaming possible. It makes the internet possible. So computer network is a collection of computers and other devices, communicating and working together. So computers in a network are able to communicate with each other. This could be through wires or wireless hardware or combination of both. So networks can contain just a few computers, or sometimes it could be billions of devices together. For example, the internet. That's an example of a billions of devices computer network. So, what is the internet? Well, it's the largest and most well known computer network in the world. So, technically, it is a network made up of many smaller networks, but at a high level, it is just an example of a computer network. So, users are able to send data over the internet. Of course, like we said before, the data, we actually send it to a server to handle those requests for data. Hey, I want to see this web page. Hey, I want to, jump in a match and play with my friend on this online game. You're actually going to a server, right, to do that. So the internet actually has a pretty complex infrastructure. So it's not, again, it's not this cloud floating in the sky. I know we use the term cloud a lot when referring to internet resources, but cloud is, of course, not a good description of how it works because it's using wired and wireless technologies to deliver that data, to make that communication possible, and to give you access, right, to all the things you want that are online. So this is definitely a simplified look at that infrastructure, but cables, there are literally cables under the ocean connecting continents together, so that you can connect, right, and communicate with people in China, in Saudi Arabia, in Australia, in Mexico, right, anywhere you want. The reason that's possible, it's not because some signals being sent in the air. It's actually cables. There are physical cables connecting the internet together. Um, Servers, we already talked about that. That's kind of the heartbeat of the internet, right? If you want to actually send data, you need a server computer to handle those requests to send and receive data. Routers, really important nowadays. I used to have to connect my computer to the internet physically with a small cable. Nowadays we have routers that can wirelessly transmit and connect you to the internet. And then, of course, nowadays there's also satellite internet. For example, Starlink, right? You can purchase internet via satellites, which is much more reliable in areas, right, where internet might be difficult to get. And then World Wide Web, which is different than the internet. I know sometimes people use these terms interchangeably. They are not the same thing. The World Wide Web is the collection of documents that users access when they connect to the internet. Every time you go to a web page, you're actually accessing the World Wide Web. So you can think of the internet as almost like the hardware and the web as like the software. So hardware is what makes the World Wide Web possible. The internet makes the World Wide Web possible. So every page on the internet is a document, and I can actually show you really quickly. On most browsers, there's some sort of button where you can inspect the web page, and this is actually the code that makes this website possible. So, for example, if I hover over the star, this is all the code that made that little star icon possible. And I can keep going and going. And notice these resources have a location, right? Because when you go to a certain domain, a certain address, we're going to learn more about that later on. Um, you're really just telling it, hey, I want to request this resource from the internet. I want this picture from the internet. I want this user, this piece of text, whatever it is that you're asking the internet for. It's going to go to a server computer. So yeah, that's the World Wide Web. So that's it for our introduction to the world of technology. As always, if you have any questions, any concerns, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help.